there's a supplement that may be better than eggshells for growth. I did grow taller when I was in my mid-30s from taking eggshells, early to mid-30s, from taking eggshells with a certain drink. I talk about it in my book. That's true. And I did grow half an inch in 1 month on eggshells with that drink. However, I had certain concerns about eggshells. So, I was looking into other things afterwards. Even though eggshells seemed to work, it really did seem to produce height increases. I would stop using eggshells, then I'd use them again, and I would notice results. It's true. And one thing I read about eggshells is that when you grind them in the coffee grinder, you let them dry, and then you grind them. One lady said it smelled like the dental office, like when a dentist was grinding teeth or something like that. She said the smell of the eggshells had the same smell of that. And incidentally, eggshells are made of very similar components to the bones of the human body. And that's why it has a reputation for supporting the bones, even supporting cartilage growth. The membrane in the eggshells support cartilage growth. Now, also, just when you take in calcium, calcium itself actually supports cartilage growth, which makes sense because how the growth plate, you need cartilage. The growth plate is made of cartilage, and for new bone to form, it needs cartilage. So, just if you look into the AI world of the body, calcium will call for cartilage. It needs a home. So it will like call for cartilage to build it a home. Okay. So, with all that being said, I'm saying that there is a possibility that there is a better option than eggshells. And it's so good, it's even been called a milk substitute. Okay? Now, what is it, you may ask? Well, guess what? It's not what you're looking at right now. It's not what you're looking at right now. Although, this itself that you're looking at might be a better option than eggshells. I won't say it's a milk substitute, but this here may be an option that's better than eggshells. It's called Living Bone from Ancestral Supplements. And it's grass-fed. And look at the great ingredients that are in it. The good components. You have calcium and phosphorus from microcrystalline hydroxyapatite. And this supplement is cheaper than the one I'm about to show you. It is cheaper. But I wouldn't say it's the best. However, it indeed may be better than eggshells. It may be. And this supplement, it also has grass-fed, mid-shelf, long leg bones. Okay? If you remember in the book, I talk about like supporting like. If you want muscle, you eat muscle. If you want cartilage, you eat cartilage. So this is the same thought. If you want bone, you don't necessarily eat eggshell, do you? But people have eaten eggshell because it has bone components. But the most ideal, though, would have to be, by the same reasoning, it would have to be bone. So having living bone would seem to be an upgrade from eggshells. Okay? And in this supplement, you have type 1 collagen, glycosaminoglycans, bone stimulating peptides, and trace minerals. Okay? So, all of this is great. But what can be better than this? This is bone. Well, let's consult ancestral wisdom. What did they do? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What was helping them? This is what we do. Sometimes what we want, a lot of times, has already been discovered. All right. So, let's check this out. Remember, I've told you about the book. Where is the book? Oh, yeah. Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price. He was a dentist. Okay? So let's check out what he found out from ancestral wisdom. Okay, studying the dietary habits of traditional peoples across the globe, he found that the natives of Canada put great stock in consuming animal organ meats, especially bone marrow. Okay? Now, when we looked at this, we didn't see anything about marrow, did we? No, we didn't. Nothing about marrow. But let's keep reading here. Let's go down all the way to here. I think this is important too. In the book, I talk about if one has issues with digesting milk, something else to consider would be basically bone broth, meats, and organ meats. Okay? Bone broth, meats, and organ meats. And I think it's cool here to talk about the wall parts of the digestive tract. I think that's interesting because people who have an issue digesting milk may actually have an issue with the wall parts of their digestive tract. So that might be something worth looking into, because if your digestive tract is not accepting milk, maybe your digestive tract needs repair. And so with like fixing like, maybe there is some digestive tract of animals that you could eat, or there may be a supplement that you could ingest, and it goes to work on your digestive tract to support healing in that region of your body. Okay? But moving on, check this out. The skeletal remains are found as piles of finely broken bone chips or splinters that have been cracked up to obtain as much as possible of the marrow and nutritive qualities of the bones. Okay? And this is talking about game animals. When they hunt, when they killed animals to eat, what was left of the remains were broken bone chips. Okay? It wasn't the whole bone, all neat and together. They were broken up in chips and splinters, and so you can tell that whoever killed these animals were going to work on them bones. They were using those bones. All right, now check it out right here. These Indians obtained their fat-soluble vitamins and also most of their minerals from the organs of the animals. Important, especially if you're not drinking milk. Organ meats are going to be important to you. Remember that, please. Okay. An important part of the nutrition of the children, check this out, y'all. An important part of the nutrition of the children consisted in various preparations of bone marrow, both as a substitute for milk and as a special dietary ration. So there was a preparation of bone marrow which was used as a substitute for milk. And when you think about it, that makes sense, because if you know anything about marrow, marrow is basically fat. It is a special kind of fat, but it is fat. It is literally fat inside the bone. You can go to fine restaurants, you can order this. And what you will get on your plate is a long bone that's been split long ways down the middle. A long bone that's been split lengthwise. And on your plate, you will see inside that long bone is fat. And so it makes, and it's delicious. Okay, it's delicious. I don't think I've had it at a restaurant. I may have once, but I know I've had it at home, and it was great. And by the way, that's where stem cells come from. It comes from the marrow. Also, your red blood cells. Stem cells and red blood cells come from marrow. So again, you can see how this was such a good part of the nutrition for young folk. Now, I'm showing you this picture right now because if you look at it, look at the ingredients here, you don't see any thing about fat, do you? No, you don't. But milk has fat in it. Milk has fat. Milk has proteins. Milk has calcium. And milk has fats. Okay? And so right here, you see protein stuff. And you see calcium and other minerals. But you don't see fat. Okay? And it was preparations of bone marrow that was a substitute for milk. See, it was more complete. Okay? So, what do we find? And by the way, this is, I had to cross-reference this. I saw this on the website. This is actually the website for this supplement, okay? And so I looked it up in the book, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, and here it is. You'll find it on page 232 and 233. You see it right there. Bone marrow, both as a substitute for milk and a special dietary ration for children. So you know it's important. They're not messing around with their kids. If it's good enough for their kids, you know it's good enough for adults. Because they're not going to play with their child's growth. Every papa wants a strong, tall boy. A chip off the old block. That's just how it is. You ain't going to give your boy anything. Okay, the boy got to be a better version of you. That's what every good papa wants. The boy got to be even better than the daddy. That's just how it is. All right. Now, I'm finna show you this supplement, but before I do, some people need more concrete science. Some people are like that, and to satisfy them, we're gonna read this right here. Okay? Organ meats and bone marrow were a staple of our early ancestors' diets as the ultimate superfood. For good reason. It turns out this nourishing tradition is backed by science. Woo! Science! Oh, science! Alright, here we go. Radioisotope labeling studies in animals have shown conclusively that when eaten, organs and glands selectively travel to the corresponding organs and glands in high concentrations. Wow, isn't that stuff wild? People been knowing it for thousands of years, but it's okay. We now have radioisotope labeling studies to confirm that this is true. Okay, this research done at the University of Scotland in Edinburgh lends credence to the ancient practice of eating animal organs to help ensure health in one's corresponding organs. Okay, so now we have proof from the science people. Oh, thank you, science. Oh, science, thank you. Says here, let's say the man's name, Dr. Ron Schmidt. Okay. Our early ancestors knew this for thousands of years, which is why their traditional diets included the frequent and nourishing consumption of like supports like nutrition organ meats, okay, and bone broth and everything else you can think of, okay. Now, so where do we go? How can we get this great thing that we're seeking? Well, it's simple. Like supports like. Bone and marrow. That's it. Now, I know some of you have skipped to this part. Hey, that's fine. But you may not see the value of what I'm showing you unless you go to the first. Go to what I shared already. Because you got to have reasoning or you won't drop the money. Because this stuff is more expensive. Some people probably stopped watching the video when I showed that. They probably didn't even listen. Oh, Living Bone. That's supplement. Okay, bye. I'm gone. Well, they found a better supplement than Eggshell, but they didn't hear nothing about the ultimate. What seems to be the ultimate. And this is more expensive. And but check it. You're getting your bone matrix. You're getting your bone marrow. And you're getting your cartilage. Okay? Great. All nice in a supplement. Now, hopefully the company is telling us the truth about everything that's in it. And they're not putting other stuff in it. Bad stuff. Some supplement companies do that. You think you're buying a natural supplement, but they're putting synthetic supplements in there. Hopefully this company isn't doing that. All right. Now, how much should you take? Well, according to the USDA or recommended daily allowance, how much calcium you need depends upon who you are. So who are you? Who are you? Who you is? Now, there's something you should know. When reading the recommended daily allowance, it means what is, from what I understand, it means the minimum that you should take to not be sick or not have problems. Okay? So there's one thing to consider. And I'll just leave it at that. Another thing that I want you to be able to think of is that on this channel, people are concerned about growth. Now, there could be other people watching this video who really don't rock with this channel like that. But for those who have been on this channel for a while, they're concerned about adult height growth. And so, what do I always say? I say, if you want to grow, you do what growing people do. So, you do the math on that. I'm leaving it up to you. And finally, I must say this. When it comes to calcium supplementation, that's something to be very careful about. That's why I encourage getting calcium from whole foods. That's why I feel better about a supplement like this versus someone buying just a standalone calcium supplement. I think that is very dangerous, and one should avoid that and get, because there are a lot of people in the grow tall space who like, oh, I'll just get a calcium supplement. That's all I need. I just need calcium. It's like, no, dude. Your bone is made of more than calcium. And if all you're taking is calcium, your body is going to see that, and it will raise alarms. And your body chemistry is going to be affected. Your body will seek to balance things out. And it will rob from Peter to pay Paul. Okay, that's a figure of speech, but hopefully you understand what that means. If you coming in here with calcium, with just calcium alone, your body's going to rob from Peter to pay Paul. And it might get you in trouble. Okay? So, let's get the whole shebang. Let's get the whole thing. And that's why in different cultures who drink a lot of milk, like the Maasai and Buru, and other cultures, they might drink 7 gallons of milk. I mean, not 7 gallons, I'm sorry. 7 quarts of milk in one day. 7 quarts of milk. And check out how much calcium is in 7 quarts of milk. Almost 8,000 milligrams. 8,000 milligrams. Are you kidding me? No. This is not a joke. Why can this be done? Because milk is a whole food. If someone tried to take 8,000 milligrams of calcium by itself, I don't know what that might do. Might kill you. I don't know. I mean, you try taking 8,000 milligrams of a standalone calcium supplement, you might die. But with milk, it's a different story because you have you're taking it in a balanced form. And your body doesn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul like it does in the other scenario. Okay? So you want to keep that stuff in mind. Oh boy, 7 quarts of milk. There's a concept about quarts of milk that you have probably learned about if you read what I recommended in the milk diet book. There's a wonderful concept, and it's interesting that these cultures on 7 quarts of milk are reaching heights that are toward 7 feet tall. Isn't that interesting? If you read the diet book, those chapters like I recommended, you would have read a part where it talked about, depending on how tall you are, that's how many quarts to drink. A quart for every foot. A quart for every foot. Isn't that interesting? So, it would seem, if one were to do the milk diet, I'm not saying everyone has to do that. I'm talking about it all in the book. Download it if you ain't got it. But those who are on this channel for the purposes of growing taller, that would be something to consider. So, if one is in the 5 feet region and they want to be in the 6 feet region, maybe they should get their bodies to the point where it can accept 6 quarts. Sometimes the way I look at it, the growth, there can be many secrets to growth, but I think one of the secrets is getting the body in a state where it can accept milk. And it can accept the amount of milk you need. for growth, or if we can word it a different way, your body can accept the amount of milk that a tall person would require. We kind of, going off on a tangent here, but I'm gonna bring it back real quick. But I don't know. I just had to talk about this. I see the 7-quart thing, and I was just thinking about the men who drink 7 quarts are almost 7 feet tall, and that's average. Average is 6'6" to 6'8". That's average. So the tall people among them would be around 7 feet tall. Okay? And then there's a culture, by the way, who, in addition to drinking milk, they take organ meats, especially liver. They prize the liver. These people are 7.5 feet tall. 7 feet 6 inches. 7'6", y'all. 7'6". That's why I be telling you about them organ meats. So if you can't do milk, them organ meats are going to be very important. And what's the name of this channel? Growth and regeneration. What is the most regenerative organ in the body? It is the liver. The liver. Those very, very, very tall people, 7'6", they take in milk, but they also take in liver. And the liver is sacred to them. So sacred, they don't even want to touch it with their hands. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you can't do meats, organ meats. And from this company here, they have some organ meat products, okay? But anyway, if someone is around 6 feet and they want to be more in the 7 feet range, well, maybe they should think about digesting 7 quarts of milk a day. And it's kind of like, common sense, They're getting more calcium. They are getting the nutrition content that supports someone close to 7 feet tall. Okay? And we talk about the butterfly way, what that means and everything, and how one doesn't have to worry about the bad type of weight gain, but the weight gain is most certainly involved, but it's lean body mass, lean mass. Okay? So that's that. That's a concept that I just want to, drop real quick. If you haven't read the book, those chapters, I didn't say read the whole book, but I mentioned specific chapters in another book to check out. And in one of those chapters, it talked about the concept of drink the number of quarts that match the feet. Like if someone is 5.5 feet, if someone is 5'6" tall, they need to drink 5.5 quarts, basically. But what if someone is 5.5 feet tall and they want to be 6.5 feet tall? Well, maybe they should think about drinking 6.5 quarts. Maybe they should think about that. Now, as an adult, those thoughts get a little challenging. It's easy to have such thoughts as a kid, a growing teenager, in their growth phase, in their puberty stage. Such thoughts may be easy to accept, but if there's a young adult listening to this past the are so-called past the puberty stage, well, there's some principles in the book they might want to look into if they have truly stopped growing. Okay? But if they're still growing, maybe, this is something that they can just jump right into without even reading the book. Without even, if someone is still growing, they could just up their milk content, read nourishing traditions, and even if they have a hard time with digestion milk, see what Weston A. Price, Nourishing Traditions, Sally Fallon's say about dietary substitutes. And I'm saying, from what I've gathered, if one has a problem, digestion milk and all that and whatnot, meats, organ meats, okay, bone broths, and maybe a supplement like this. Okay? Maybe a supplement like this. Now, we've gone from the ancient world to modern labs. Now let's go to a good old anecdote. Good old anecdote. Let's check it out. This is a man who grew taller at the age of 41. He says, I have grown 2 inches and I'm 41. And that's in the space of 3 months. Wow. I grew half an inch when I was 34. I grew half an inch in a month. This guy was growing like about 0.7 inches a month. And I think I could have did that. I took my foot off the gas midway. So my growth slowed. But yeah, halfway through that month, I took my foot off the gas. But if I kept my foot on that gas, I probably could have got 0.7 inches. Might even got a whole inch that month. I don't know. But anyway, he grew 2 inches in 3 months, and he said, I don't know what's going on, but I was having back pains and craving chewing up the bones of meats that I did eat. And look, he even got confirmation. Me and my wife was the same height. Now, I have about 2 or 3 inches. It's crazy. I know it'd be crazy. It is crazy. When you see yourself growing, you're a grown man, and you see yourself getting taller. That stuff is crazy. Well, even when you're a kid and you're getting taller, it's a delight. It is a delightful thing. But it's kind of surreal when you're past that and you growing like a young buck. Yeah, it feels mighty fine. Mighty fine. Look what it's did to his mentality. Look what it's done to his mind. He says, I hope it keeps going. Maybe I'll get in the NBA in a year or 2. LOL. He's happy. It makes you happy. Happy, happy, happy. It's just one thing that adds happiness in your life. There are other things, of course. But see, and it probably helped their relationship. Let's keep it real, folks. Probably helped their relationship. That woman had to look up at him. Look up at me, woman. Relax. Relax, people. I'm only acting. That's a character. Chill out. I'm being facetious. Okay? And I come from a certain culture. I've seen certain things. And I watch certain TV shows. And I watch certain movies. And listen to certain music. So I know how to be certain characters. Okay? But the truth is, a woman wants to look up at a man. She does. Any regular woman wants to look up at a man. She do. It is what it is. That's that. It's cool, and you see the correlation. Chewing up the bones of meat that I did eat. And her wife, his wife, was so encouraged by what happened, she too wanted to chew bones and meat. The Butterfly Way. If you haven't downloaded that book, go ahead, get it. Where I talk about how to trigger late growth spurt, a vertical bodybuilder's guide to getting taller fast. There's also a Butterfly Way journal. You want to look over my shoulder as I implement the Butterfly Way? Then subscribe to the Butterfly Way journal. See what I do to trigger growth spurts and ask questions along the way. There's no need to be left in the dark. And would you like to work with me personally? Would you like me to personally help you trigger a growth spurt within 30 days for free? If you're that dream client I'm looking for, I will personally work with you one-on-one to help you trigger a growth spurt and see your first height gains within 30 days. And it doesn't matter what type of growth you want to focus on. If you're interested in whole body growth, cool. If you want to focus on legs only, great. Let's do it. You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing? Ain't nobody playing with you. Ain't nobody playing. Hey, what you want to do? What you want to do? If you filled out this questionnaire and I haven't gotten back with you, I will. It just takes a little bit of time. I appreciate you. I wish you the best. And anything wrong that I've done or said in this video, please forgive me. Forgive me. I am a sinner. I sin all the time. All right, that's enough. Peace.